Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Awesome, and welcome to the Ryan Awesome Show. Now, before we get into the show, first off, man, if you haven't done this already, man, what are you waiting for, man? Hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. And right next to that subscribe button, there's a bell. Make sure you click on that bell so you're the first ones to know when my next video will come out because I'm here each and every single week. So make sure you hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. And then next to that subscribe button, there's a bell. You click on that bell. And when you click on that bell, you'll be the first ones to know when my next video is uploaded. And one last thing, don't forget to be awesome. So yeah, don't forget to be awesome. And yeah, man, sit back, chillax, grab something to eat, grab something to drink because you're watching the Ryan Awesome Show. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ryan Awesome Show. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Awesome, and welcome to the Ryan Awesome Show. Now, today on the Ryan Awesome Show, we'll be talking about AEW Dynamite for June 26th, 2021, Saturday Night Dynamite, man. Now, man, with this show, man, this is a good show, a really good show, man. We had a great main event with Omega and Jungle Boy for the AEW World Championship. I thought that was a really good match. You know, a great back and forth match. You know, at points, it made it feel like that Jungle Boy was going to win the match, but Omega ended up winning. You know, tonight's show, you know, they did a great job. They did a great job at, you know, building up to next week's show. You know, next week's show is looking good. You have Sammy Guevara versus MJF. You know, you have what else you have? You have the TNT Championship match that's next week. You know, they did a great job, man, by building up this show for next week. And so yeah, man. So yeah, so that's why, man, that's why it turned out to be a really good show, man. And so yeah, man. So this is the AEW Dynamite review on the Ryan Awesome Show for June 26th, 2021, Saturday Night Dynamite. So yes, this is the last night of the preemptions. So next week we are back to normal. So next week it'll be on Wednesday next week. So happy everything will be back to normal. And so yeah, man. And just like what I said in my intro, man, if you haven't done this already, hit the thumbs up, man. What are you waiting for? Hit the thumbs up. And if you're new here, man, hit the subscribe button. And then next to that subscribe button, you click on that bell. And when you click on that bell, you'll be the first ones to know when my next video is uploaded because I am here each and every single week, man. So yeah, so first off, man, we started off the show with Alex Marvez. He tried to interview Sammy Guevara of the Inner Circle. So yeah, he tried to interview Sammy Guevara, and you know, yeah, Shawn Spears, he had hit Sammy Guevara with a chair. So yeah, took him out with a chair, and that was it. And so yeah, so during the night, you had the Pinnacle guys. They took out the Inner Circle, and so yeah, so our first match of the night, we had Powerhouse Will Hobbs, or Will Powerhouse Hobbs, versus Hangman Adam Page. And so yeah, so both of these guys, they try to one up each other in this match. And at one point you had Hobbs, he try to, you know, you had Page, he tried to go for the buckshot lariat, but Hobbs, he had got out of the ring. And so yeah, Hobbs, he had took Page out of the ring. He took him outside the ring, and so the crowd started chanting "You suck" to Hobbs. And so Hobbs, he started to go after Page's arm, which is a smart move because Adam Page, his finishing move is the buckshot lariat, and he needs that arm to hit the buckshot lariat. And so yeah, at one point you had Page, he was bleeding from the top of his head. I don't know where it came from. I don't know where the blood came from, but he started bleeding from the top of his head. And so yeah, so Page, he started fighting back. And then Page, he started hitting big boots on Hobbs, but Hobbs was still standing up. And we had an over the top rope crossbody to Hobbs. And so we had a moonsault. We had a moonsault to Hobbs and he kicked out. And then Hobbs, he had a crossbody on Page. I love those crossbodies from those big guys, man. I love it. And so right after that, you had Hook. You had Ricky Starks and Hook. They had came out of Team Taz. They came out. And you had Starks. He had the FTW championship. And so he gave Hobbs the FTW championship so Hobbs can use the belt. But you had Brian Cage. He had came out and he tried to take out Ricky Starks. So he chased off Ricky Starks. And so yeah, we had a beautiful man. We had a beautiful spine buster from Hobbs to Page. So that was nice. A nice spine buster to Page. And so Page he had kicked out of the spine buster. And we had a German suplex to Hobbs. And to end the match, we had Adam Hangman Page. He had his other finishing move, the Deadeye, to Will Hobbs to win the match. So Hangman Adam Page wins the match. And that was it, man. Great opener, man. Great opener. You know, the crowd, I love the crowd reaction for Adam Hangman Page. You know, the crowd, they were into Page, man. They were into Page. This is Adam Page's country. This is Page's country. And so yeah, that was it. You know, what's next for Team Taz? I don't know what they're doing with Team Taz. Like it's like every single member of Team Taz they always lose. But you wasn't gonna beat Hangman Adam Page either because Page is eventually or potentially will be taking the title off of Omega. That's what I think. But yeah, you gotta have Page win the match. But Team Taz, man, they've been losing time and time again. And now they have now you have Page. You have Cage. I'm getting mixed up with Pages and Cages. You have Brian Cage, moving himself away from Team Taz, which is a big mistake. Like I don't think Cage will make it on his own. I really don't, because he need that person to speak for him, and Taz was that guy to speak for Cage. When Cage first came into AEW, Taz was that person. Taz was that person that spoke for Cage. He was that person that spoke for Cage. And now that you removing yourself from Team Taz, like, dude, you don't have nobody to speak for you. But yeah, that was it with that. And plus, man, Team Taz was built. It started off with Brian Cage, so why are you getting rid of your founding member of Team Taz? But yeah, that was it with that, with the match and everything. And so yeah, so right after that, we had a backstage segment from the Young Bucks. That's Matt and Nick Jackson. Matt and Nick Jackson, who are the AEW World Tag Team Champions, with Brandon Cutler. And so yeah, the Bucks, they were bragging about their rise to the Tag Team Championships, or their rise to the top as Tag Team Champions. And so yeah, Cutler, he tried to interrupt, he tried to speak too. He tried to sound all tough too, but the Bucks kept telling him to shut up, like shut your mouth and all that stuff. And so Cutler, he ended up saying one thing that the Bucks approved of. And so yeah, so Brandon Cutler, he was excited and all that stuff that the Bucks had acknowledged him. And yeah. And so yeah, so the Bucks, they had ended off by saying that they're extremely violent people. So they're the EVP. So the EVP stands for extremely violent people. And so that was it with that. And they do have a match next week against Eddie Kingston and Pentagon next week. And if Pentagon and Eddie Kingston win the match, they'll get a championship match against the Bucks. And so yeah, that was it with that. And so yeah, so right after that, we had Tony Schiavone. He was in the ring. He introduced Konnan and Tully Blanchard. Tony Blanchard of the Pinnacle and Konnan. And so yeah, so they both came out. Well, Tully Blanchard, he was already there. And then you had Konnan, he had came out to the ring to the LAX theme song. And so yeah, so we had Blanchard and Konnan. They were talking about their guys. Konnan was talking about Santana and Ortiz, their upbringings and all that stuff. How tough they are and all that stuff, where they came from, the part of the city that they are from, and what happened in their past and all that stuff. And then Blanchard, he was talking about FTR, and yeah, he said that FTR will end the game. And so yeah, so first off, we had Konnan. He had told Tully Blanchard, like, hey, like Konnan, he was speaking Spanish at first. And so he told Tully Blanchard, hey, you need to learn some Spanish, because one day, your grandchildren will be speaking Spanish. And so that was a shot, because Tessa Blanchard, she's married to Daga, who speaks Spanish. So first off, so Konnan he had called out Santana and Ortiz. He called out Santana and Ortiz to the ring, and so they came out. We thought that they came out. So they had the mask on and all that stuff. So we thought it was Santana and Ortiz. And so so they came in the ring. They stood side by Konnan. And so you had Tully Blanchard. He had told Konnan to look at the screen, like look at this big screen. And so you had the big screen of Santana and Ortiz taken out. They were beaten up. And so you had the two guys that were in the ring. They unmasked themselves as FTR. So FTR was under the mask. And so they took out Konnan. They took out Konnan and they dropped him with a spike power driver. FTR did. And so that was it with that, man. That was it. Really good, man. Really good stuff, man. And the match with Santana and Ortiz, Proud and Powerful versus FTR, man, should be a really great match. When that match will be, I don't know. Probably at that July show, the 7th, July the 7th. You know, because they are stacking up that show, man. They are stacking up that show. And, you know, I really don't know when the match will be, but it should be one hell of a match, man. One hell of a match. And one hell of a tag team match, like tag team championship match, too, man. Now, I did say this last week, man. I said this last week. I think FTR should have held on to those AEW World Tag Team titles a lot longer. They should have held on to those titles longer, man. They should have held on to those titles longer, man. And, you know, and just hold it out. Hold on to those titles up to this point and have Santana and Ortiz beat them for the titles. Have FTR as the longest reigning tag team champions, and then have Santana and Ortiz beat them for the titles. And yeah, that'll be great, man. They'll be better off. You know, it'll be good for Santana and Ortiz having them beat the longest reigning tag team champions of all time. But yeah, that was it, man. That was it with that. Really good stuff, man. And so right after that, we had a match, and it was Dante Martin versus Matt Sydal with Mike Sydal in this corner. So first off, you had Dante Martin. He came out to the ring first. And then you had Vickie Guerrero had interrupted, you know, Dante Martin while he was making his entrance and all that stuff. And so, she was yelling, excuse me. And so I was like, oh, my God. Like, it felt like I was watching SmackDown from 2010. But, so, she interrupted with her excuse me's and all that stuff, and she introduced Andrade El Idolo. And so Andrade, he came out to theme music. So he has theme music. And so, they promised that they had an announcement last week when Andrade he was being interviewed by JR. He promised that there will be an announcement from him and Vickie Guerrero, and so they tried to talk about their announcement. But Matt Sydal had interrupted with his theme music, and so they didn't get a chance to announce their announcement. And so Andrade Cien Almas, he was about to attack, or Andrade El Idolo, he tried to attack Matt Sydal, but Vickie Guerrero had to hold him back. And that was it, man. That was it. And so we went into the match with Dante Martin and Matt Sydal. And so at first I didn't know why this match happened. What was the point of the match? But this is a really good match, though. We had both of these guys. They were using their athleticism against each other. We had a spinning leg lariat to Dante. And then Sydal, he had took control of the match during a commercial break, picture-in-picture, of course. And we had a Death Valley driver to Sydal, and he kicked out. And then we had a double springboard moonsault, which was nice, and on Sydal. So he hit the double springboard moonsault on Sydal. And we had a diving meteora to Dante, he kicked out. And we had a sunset cover to Sydal, which was nice, man. Dante, he had the hang time that he hit with that sunset cover, man. That was really nice, man. Really nice. And so we had a flipping stunner. We had a flipping stunner to Sydal, and he kicked out, which was also nice, a flipping stunner. And so so to end the match, we had a lightning spiral to Dante to win the match. So Sydal hit his finishing move, the lightning spiral, to Dante to win the match. So Matt Sydal wins the match. And that was it, man. Really competitive match. Really competitive match. But still, I didn't know why the match happened. What was the purpose of having a match? Like, what did the winner get? I don't know. I guess the move up in the rankings. I guess for the TNT Championship. I guess I don't know. But that was it with that. And so right after that, we had Jungle Boy. He spoke about Kenny Omega in the World Heavyweight Championship match later on tonight, the main event. It being the biggest match of his career. And so Christian Cage, he had interrupted Jungle Boy. And so he tried to give him some advice and all that stuff about Kenny Omega. And he said that, you know, you being in this position, you should be pissed off, man, because there are a lot of people that's saying that you don't deserve this opportunity. And so he told Jungle Boy, like, hey, you shocked everybody when you won the Casino Battle Royale. How about you shock everybody tonight by winning the AEW World Championship? And so, yeah, that was it with that. So right after that, we had a backstage segment from Jade, Cargill, and Matt and Mark Sterling. And so, yeah, so Sterling, he was talking about the monetization process with Jade Cargill's merchandise. And then Cargill, she had said that, nobody can beat me. Nobody can beat me because I'm that bitch. And so, yeah, that's what Cargill had to say about that. And so, yeah, so right after that, we had Alex Marvez. He tried to interview the Pinnacle. So we had MJF, Wardlow, and Shawn Spears. So, yeah, Marvez, he tried to interview the Pinnacle. And so MJF, he had cut off Marvez. And so MJF, he was bragging about his attacks and all that stuff. He bragged about Shawn Spears taking out Sammy Guevara earlier. And then MJF, he mentioned Dean Malenko. He called him an old man and all that stuff. And then he said that, he was talking about his disease and all that stuff. I thought that was a dick move from MJF, talking about Parkinson's disease. And so, yeah. So MJF, he said that he gave Dean Malenko the greatest gift, a retirement check or something like that. He said a retirement check. And so, yeah, so right after he got finished talking about Dean Malenko, Jericho and Hager, they had came out and they attacked MJF, Spears, and Wardlow. So Jericho, he got tired of MJF talking, so he took out him and Hager. They took out MJF, Spears, and Wardlow. And so, yeah, they were fighting backstage, and they brought it out to the ring. And so, yeah, so the numbers had caught up to the inner circle. And so the Pinnacle, they tried to re-injure Jericho's arm. And then you had Sammy Guevara had came out to his theme music. I was like, dude, why are you coming out to your theme music, dude? Just run out to the ring. And so, yeah, so Sammy, he came out to the ring to his theme music. And he ran out with a chair. So he had a chair in his hand. He started hitting everybody with chairs. And so Sammy, he came up to even up the odds. And so, yeah, so Sammy, he grabbed the microphone. And so, yeah, we did have some technical difficulties. Like, at first, he didn't hear what he said. Like, it felt like it was like a voiceover. But we had, like, technical difficulties with the microphone with Sammy Guevara. And so, yeah, so we did hear what he had to say. He said that next week, he said that he will show MJF that he's the best ever, and you know it. Because he said that, MJF, you want to say that you're better than I'm better than you, and you know it. Well, let me tell you something, MJF. I'm going to show you why I am the best ever, and you know it. And so, yeah, that was it with that. And so Jericho, Sammy, and Hager, they celebrated in the ring. So, yeah, man, so next week is going to be Sammy Guevara versus MJF, and that's next week. Who will win? I don't know. I'm guessing MJF, since he's the leader of the Pinnacle. So you're not gonna have the leader lose a match to Sammy Guevara, who is not the leader of the inner circle. But yeah, MJF, isn't he undefeated? I thought he was undefeated. Yeah, he is undefeated. The last time he lost, I don't think he lost ever, man. The only way he lost, the only time he lost was in that championship match that he had with Jon Moxley when Jon Moxley was the AEW World Champion. It was a championship match. That's the only match that he ever lost in a one-on-one match. So yeah, but MJF, he undefeated, man. He undefeated in singles action. So I wouldn't have MJF lose. I wouldn't. I think it would be a big mistake to have him lose to Sammy. Sammy is that type of guy that can take a loss. It's not gonna hurt Sammy if he lose, but it will hurt MJF if he lose, because MJF, he talk a big game. And he has to back up everything that he says, man. Because look at his catchphrase. I'm better than you, and you know it. And you have him lose, it's not gonna be good for him. But yeah, that was it with that. And so yeah, so right after that we had Miro. The TNT champion, Miro. He spoke. Well, first off, he was sitting in a chair in a backstage area, and he was praying to God. And he said that he is God's favorite champion. I love that name. He said he is God's favorite champion. And so yeah, so Miro, he talked about Brian Pillman Jr. and he said that Pillman Jr. made a big mistake by attacking him last week or blindsiding him last week. So yeah, that was it with that. So next week it will be Miro versus Brian Pillman Jr. So that should be good too, man. That should be good. And a big opportunity for Brian Pillman Jr. His first championship match, a singles championship match, because he's a tag team wrestler. And Miro, man, I'm loving Miro, dude. I really am. He's looked better, man. He looks better now than he ever did when he first came to AEW, man. This is the Miro that we always wanted, man. The Miro that we always wanted. When we first came in with Kip Sabian, we all cried. We all cried and said, man, this is not what we want from Miro. We want Miro to be on his own, going after a championship. And look at him now, man. Look at him now. He took out Lance Archer, took out everybody that's been in his way. He's been dominant, man. Dominant champion Miro has. And so yeah, so that was it with that. And so yeah, so right after that we had a match, and it was Ethan Page with Scorpio Sky versus Bronson with Bear Boulder. And so with this, I don't know why this wasn't a tag team match, why it had to be a one-on-one match. But this match, it was okay. It was okay. So yeah, so Bronson, he had unloaded on Page for slapping him in his face. And so Page, he started taunting Bronson. We had a power slam to Page, and he kicked out. We had a tope suicida, so Bronson, he tried to go for a tope suicida on Page, but Sky, who was outside the ring, he had pushed Page out of the way. And so Sky, he had took the bullet for Page. And then we had Boulder and Sky got involved in this match. First off, we had Boulder. He was standing behind Page, and then Page started crying to the referee that Boulder had hit him or something like that, but when he really didn't. And so the referee was arguing with Boulder and stuff, and that's when Sky had took out Bronson from behind. And so Page, he had took control of the match during the commercial break, picture-in-picture, of course. And so, yeah, we had a one-handed spine buster to Page. We had a superplex to Bronson, which was nice. I like the superplex, man. I love that move, man. The superplex is an explosive move, man. Effective move. And Bronson. I'm thinking of Bronson Reed, bro. Bear Bronson. He got kicked out. We had a black hole slam to Page. And we had a Scorpio Sky. We had Scorpio Sky. He tried to get involved in the match again, but Boulder had took him out. And then, the referee was distracted. And so we had a low blow to Bronson. And then in the match, we had Page. He had the ego's edge to Bronson to win the match. So Ethan Page wins the match. And that was it, man. That was it. It was okay. The match was okay, but I don't know why this wasn't a tag team match. Because Page and Sky, they were built up as a tag team. And Bronson and Boulder, Bear Country, they're a tag team too. So why this wasn't a tag team match? Why wasn't this a tag team match? We didn't even have no tag team matches on this show, surprisingly. A show that promotes tag team wrestling, I don't think we ain't had no tag team matches on this show tonight. But yeah, that was it with that. So right after that, we had Page. He had grabbed the microphone. He started speaking. And then Page, he had said that he's not stupid. And the crowd started chanting, "Yes, you are. Yes, you are." And so Page, he started talking about Darby Allin and all that stuff, and saying that pinning Darby Allin was enough. Like the last time we was in this ring, I pinned you. And pinning you was not good enough for me. And so he said that he would put the nail in his coffin. And he kept saying it over and over and over again. And so Ethan Page, he had challenged Darby Allin to a coffin match or a casket match, whatever you want to call it. And so at that point, I was like, why are they still going at it? But with the casket match, that signifies the end of it. That signifies the end of the feud. A casket match, you ain't gonna never come back from that. Now, who wins? I don't know. Maybe Darby. I don't know. Like who will win? I just don't know. But whoever wins this match, that's it. It's over with. It is over with. So the casket match is gonna be on that July 7th show, so that should be good. And we're gonna have fans too. We're gonna have a packed. We're gonna be in Miami. So it's gonna be a jam-packed arena in Miami. So the crowd is gonna eat it up, man. They will eat it up. They will eat this match up. And as I said before, man, I don't know who's gonna win. If I had to take a guess, probably Darby Allin because that's a match made for him. His finishing move is the coffin drop. So I'm guessing that Darby Allin will win. And when he wins, what's next? I don't know, man. But they do have victories over each other. But yeah, that was it with that. And so yeah, so that was it. So right after that, we had a backstage segment from Dr. Britt Baker D.M.D, who is the AEW Women's Champion, with Rebel in her corner. So yeah, they were both talking about Vickie Guerrero wrestling, the thought of her wrestling and all that stuff. And then Baker said that her and Reba, a Rebel, will take out Vickie Guerrero next week in a tag team match. And then Baker, she had said that she will send Vickie Guerrero home with a prescription prescribed by Dr. Britt Baker D.M.D. And that was it. And so yeah, so right after that we had Vickie Guerrero and Nyla Rose. So they talked, and they were talking about their tag team match against Dr. Britt and Rebel, and saying that the match is just an appetizer. And Guerrero, she said that her and Nyla Rose are gonna go after the AEW Women's Title. And that was it, man. That was it. I am not. The tag team match should be terrible. It's gonna be terrible, man. Vickie Guerrero, really, in a ring? She's not a wrestler, man. Vickie Guerrero is not a wrestler. She is a manager. She should stick to being a manager. She's a manager. She's a manager. She's a manager. She's not a wrestler. She's not. So why is she competing in a tag team match? Why is she competing in a tag team match? I do not know. But yeah, and then another thing, Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose. What is Nyla Rose doing going after the AEW Women's Championship when she's done nothing? She's done nothing. Done nothing to get a championship match. What she did? Throw hamburgers around at Britt Baker. That warrants a championship match? Like, dude, she done nothing. She done nothing. You done nothing to get a championship match. You haven't stacked up no wins. You only got one win over Layla Hirsch. That was the only win that you got. You haven't stacked up no wins. Why is this championship match not going to nobody else? And I think everybody getting sick and tired of Nyla Rose going after the AEW Women's Championship, because we seen it already. We seen it already. We seen it already. We seen it already. Nobody want to see it again. Nobody wants to see it again. And plus, like, it's a heel versus a heel match, man. And normally heel versus heel matches don't work. It don't work out. It doesn't work out. And if they do have their match, if they do have the match, Britt Baker is gonna get cheered. She's gonna get cheered because everybody loves Dr. Britt Baker. And there is no way that she's gonna lose that title to nobody. She's losing to nobody. Nobody, bro. So yeah, I'm not interested in seeing a Nyla Rose and a Britt Baker match. I'm not. But yeah, and when Nyla Rose lose to Britt Baker, then what's next? What's next for Nyla Rose? You can't go after nothing else. You lost. But yeah, that was it with that. And so yeah, so right after that we had a match, and it was from the women. It was the Bunny with the blade in her corner versus Kris Statlander with Orange Cassidy in her corner. And so yeah, so both of these ladies, they were going back and forth. We had a shotgun dropkick to Statlander to knock her into the guardrail. And then the Bunny had took control of the match during a commercial break. Picture in picture, you guessed it right. We had a power slam to the Bunny on the ground, on the outside ground. We had a blue thunder bomb to the Bunny, a sloppy looking one at that. And we had a German suplex. We had a German suplex to Statlander off the second rope. And then she followed up with a super kick to Statlander, and she kicked out. And then the Blade had distracted the referee at that point, and he tried to give the Bunny some brass knuckles. And so yeah, so the Bunny had the brass knuckles in her hand, and she started raising it up in the air and all that stuff. And you had Orange Cassidy had slid into the ring and took the brass knuckles away from the Bunny, and then put it in his pants, and then rolled out of the ring. And so you had Kris Statlander. She had a finishing move, the Big Bang Theory to the Bunny to win the match. So Kris Statlander wins the match, and that was it. I really don't know why this match even happened. What was the point of having this match? What, like, the Best Friends and the Hardy Family Office? I guess I see why this match was made, because they still had their feud way back when. But I really didn't care about it. The match was just there. It was just there. The match was fine. It was okay. But I really didn't care about it. Really didn't care about it. Like, first off, dude, like, dude, where's the butcher, man? Where's the butcher? Like, where is the butcher? Why is he not with the blade? Why is he not with the blade? It's just the blade and the bunny. What happened to the butcher? What happened to the butcher, and why are they not contending for the tag team titles? The butcher and the blade, they were a great tag team. When it was just him, the butcher and the blade, and the bunny, just those three, man, they were great. They were great together. Now they with Matt Hardy and the Hardy family office, dude. They don't fit with Matt Hardy. They do not fit with Matt Hardy. They don't. They do not. I don't know why they're with Matt Hardy. But yeah. So first off, right after the match, you had the Blade. He had attacked Orange Cassidy, and so Orange Cassidy he had ran into ran into Kris Statlander. So Kris Statlander had got taken out by accident, and so Cassidy started fighting back, and you had TH2, that's Jack Evans and Angelico, the rest of the Hardy family office. They took out Cassidy, and so the Blade he had grabbed the brass knucks from Orange Cassidy and just blasted Orange Cassidy with the brass knucks, and that was it with that. And so yeah, the Hardy family office. I don't know why it's just like I don't know why they adding people to the Hardy family office when it should have just been Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn, and Matt Hardy. It should have been just those three, but you added the Butcher, the Blade, the Money, and TH2. Like, dude, that's way too many people. That's way too many people. It should have just been Private Party and Matt Hardy. It should have just been those three, man. It should have just been those three. You adding people to groups, man. Adding too many people to groups, it's gonna make the group weaker. It's gonna make the group weaker. And TH2 do not fit with the Hardy family office. They don't fit well with Isaiah Cassidy and Private Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn. Like, dude, they do not mesh well together. They do not mesh well together. The Hardy family office, it started off with Matt Hardy and Private Party, and it should have just been stuck. You could have just stuck to those three. You should have just stuck to those three. If you wanted to add a member, if you wanted to add a member, just add one member. You didn't have to add like 4 members. But yeah, that was it with that. I don't know where is the butcher? Where is the butcher, and why the butcher and the blade are not together, not vying after the tag team titles? Yeah, dude, that's what I want to know. Where is the butcher? If anybody know where the butcher is, let me know. I don't even know where he at. But yeah, that was it with that. So right after that, we had Tony Schiavone interviews QT Marshall, who is the leader of the Factory. And so QT Marshall, he was talking about the Nightmare Family and Cody Rhodes and Arn Anderson and Brock Anderson and their match from last week. And then so QT he said that he wanted Cody Rhodes to go away, like he wanted him to be in the movie part so he doesn't have to show up on Dynamite. And so he said that. So QT he had said that he wants to become a champion in AEW. And what champion is he talking about? What championship is he talking about? I don't know, but he is not gonna win those championships. He's not beating Miro, hell no, and he's for damn sure not beating Kenny Omega. But keep dreaming, QT. Keep dreaming, dude. The only championship that you have a chance at winning is the Trios title. When they introduced the Trios title, that's the only titles that I could see him going after. But yeah, that was it from that. The interview from QT. And so right after that, we had Brian Pillman Jr. of the Varsity Blondes. He had spoke. He talked about his championship match that he have against Miro for the TNT Championship. He talked about Miro and all that stuff. And Pillman Jr. he said that he's fighting for his, he's fighting for his friends. He's fighting for his friends. And he's saying that next week he will beat Miro. He will beat Miro and become the new TNT champion. So yeah, that was it with that. So of course next week is gonna be the match with Brian Pillman Jr. and Miro for the TNT Championship. And so right after that we had Eddie Kingston. We had Eddie Kingston and Pentagon with Alex Abrahantes. They were backstage. They spoke, and they were talking about the Bucks and all that stuff, saying that they have a large ego and all of that. And they said that they're gonna hurt them. They're gonna hurt them. They're gonna hurt the Bucks, and they're gonna run through them. And so, they're gonna run through them, and they're gonna go after the AEW World Tag Team Championships. And so, that was it with that. So if Eddie Kingston and Pentagon can beat the Young Bucks next week, they will get a AEW Tag Team Championship match. I don't know why. I don't know why they're going after the Tag Team Championships when the Kingston already contended for the Tag Team Championships when he was tag teaming with Jon Moxley. Why is he going after the titles? Don't know. I do not know. It don't make no sense. But yeah, so yeah, they're not gonna beat the Bucks. They are not gonna beat the Bucks. They're not. They're not. You can't have your champions lose on TV. You can't have a champion lose on TV and have the contender vie after the championship right away. It's not how it's supposed to work. It's not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to build up wins to get a championship match. You don't beat the champion to get a championship match. But yeah, so that was it with that. So before we get into the main event, let's talk about next week's show, man. Let's talk about next week's show. So next week, of course, we have the Bucks. We have the Young Bucks, who are the AEW World Tag Team Champions. That's Matt and Nick Jackson versus Pentagon Jr. or Penta El Zero Miedo, whatever you want to call him. I call him Pentagon. And Eddie Kingston. And Eddie Kingston. And if Kingston and Pentagon win the match, they will get the AEW World Tag Team title match against the Bucks. We have Dr. Britt Baker D.M.D., who is the AEW Women's Champion with Rebel, and Rebel, versus Nyla Rose and Vickie Guerrero. That's next week in a tag team match. Match should be terrible. And so next we have the TNT Championship match next week. It's going to be Miro, the reigning and defending TNT Champion Miro versus Brian Pillman Jr. with Griff Garrison and Julia Hart in his corner. And also next week is going to be MJF of the Pinnacle versus Sammy Guevara of the Inner Circle next week. So that should be good. That's probably the main event of the show. So yeah, that's it for next week. And so right after that, speaking of main event, we had the main event, and it was for the AEW World Championship. So yeah, this is the match of the night for me. The match of the night, we had Jungle Boy with Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt versus Kenny by God, Omega, who is the AEW World Champion, the Impact World Champion, and the AAA Mega Heavyweight Champion, with Don Callis, the Invisible Hand, and the Good Brothers. That's Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. And so first off, we had Marco Stunt. He had gotten a ring. He was jaw-jacking with the Good Brothers. And so referee had kicked out Marco Stunt and Luchasaurus. And so they kicked out Jurassic Express. And so you had the Good Brothers and Omega. They were laughing, and Callis was laughing. And then you had the referee had kicked out Callis and the Good Brothers from ringside. But Callis had went to commentary. Of course he did. And so Omega, he wasn't happy about it. He was not happy. And so Omega, he had pushed the referee. He had shoved the referee, and the referee had shoved him back. And so he had knocked Omega to the ground. And so at that point, I did not like that. Referee should not be putting his hands on a world champion. And so I would not have my world champion get punked out by no referee. No. But so first off, we had both of these guys that were going back and forth. And we had Jungle Boy, he had took out Omega. And then Omega, he threw Jungle Boy into the guardrail. We had a shotgun drop kick to Omega into the guardrail. And then Omega, he started throwing Jungle Boy into the crowd. We had a brain buster to Omega. But Jungle Boy, he could not go for the cover. And so, we had a tope suicida. We had two tope suicidas to Omega, followed up by a diving DDT to Omega. And we had a tope con hero to Omega. And Jungle Boy, at that point, he was all over the place, dude. At that point, I could not take any notes. He was all over the place, bro. He was all over the place. And so we had Omega. He would hit the superplex. He hit the superplex on Jungle Boy. And so he hooked the leg. He had hooked Jungle Boy's leg while he delivered that superplex. So I thought that was brutal. And so we had a Snapdragon suplex followed up by a V-trigger to Jungle Boy. And then Omega, he tried to go for the one-wing angel, but Jungle Boy, he turned it into a Poison Rana, so that was a nice reversal. And so we had a power bomb to Jungle Boy, followed up by a knee strike, and Jungle Boy kicked out. And we had a snare trap, so Jungle Boy, he locked in his submission move, the snare trap submission to Omega. But the Good Brothers, they try to get involved in the match. But you had Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt, and Frankie Kazarian. The Elite Hunter, Frankie Kazarian, took out the Good Brothers. So they teamed up and took out the Good Brothers. And so we had a brain buster to Jungle Boy, and he kicked out. and we had a V trigger. We had a V trigger to the Jungle Boy, and we had a series of roll ups to Omega, and Omega had kicked out. And then Jungle Boy, he had locked in the snare trap again. And Omega, to break up the hold, he had grabbed Jungle Boy by the hair. And so the referee had to get Omega off the hair. And so we had a V trigger. We had a V trigger to Jungle Boy. So this is a V trigger city, man. Omega kept hitting those V triggers at the V triggers, man. And then Omega, this is my favorite move that Omega hit. Omega hit the Tiger Driver 98. I love that move, the Tiger Driver 98 to Jungle Boy, and he kicked out. And then to end the match, man, we had Omega. He hit this finishing move, the One Wing Angel. He hit him with the One Wing Angel to Jungle Boy to win the match. So Kenny, by God, Omega wins the match and is still the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And so yeah, man, this is a great match, man. Great match, man. I could not keep up in this match. I could not, like, with the notes and everything. I tried to type down as many notes as I could, but I couldn't, man. Like, I wanted to enjoy the match. And so yeah, but great showing from Jungle Boy, man. The crowd was for Jungle Boy, man. The crowd was absolutely for Jungle Boy, man. They were chanting Jungle Boy. They were singing along to his theme music and all that stuff. This is Jungle Boy country, man. Just like what I said earlier with Adam Hangman Page. This is Adam Hangman Page country. This is Jungle Boy country, man. Jungle Boy country, man. And Jungle Boy, man, he'll have nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing to be ashamed of, because you lost to the best, man. You lost to Kenny by God Omega, who is the best. And yeah, man. And speaking of Adam Hangman Page, I think Adam Hangman Page is next. You know, I think he is next. But I think they're going to save it. They're going to save it for later. You know, they might have Omega go through somebody else. But I think the one person that's going to take the title off of Omega, the AEW World Championship, I think it's going to be Page. I think it's going to be Adam Hangman Page. Because, yeah, it'll be a long time coming from him, too, man, to be the AEW World Champion. Adam Hangman Page, I think it'll be a great story, man. Great story to tell. You know, because these guys, they were tag team champions. They were AEW World Tag Team Champions at one point. AEW World Tag Team Champions. And to have them fight for the AEW World Championship, because Page, when AEW first started, man, you had the AEW World Championship. You had the AEW World Championship. Whoever won that match between Chris Jericho and Adam Hangman Page would be the first ever AEW World Champion. And of course, Jericho won the match. And you know, it was the AEW World Championship just stuck in Adam Hangman Page's mind. You know, and so yeah, I think Page is next. I don't know when, but it's gonna happen. He's gonna take that title off of Omega. Because I don't see nobody else. I don't see nobody else taking the title off of him, man. But yeah, but Page right now, I don't think he's gonna take him off. I don't think he's gonna take the title off of him right now. But eventually, I think he will take the title off of Omega. But yeah, so yeah, that was it with that. So right after the match, man, we had Omega. He tried to attack Jungle Boy with one of the belts, and you had Christian Cage. He had came out and attacked Kenny Omega. And so, yeah, you had the Hardy Family Office, Matt Hardy and Private Party. That's Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn. They attack Cage. And then Cage, he started fighting back. And then you had the Young Bucks that came out of nowhere. They super kicked Cage. And then we had a Twist of Fate. We had a Twist of Fate to Cage from Hardy. And that was it. So the Elite and the Hardy Family Office, they stood tall together to end the show. So that was it, man. That was it with Dynamite, man. That was it, man. Really good show, man. Really good show, man. Great build up for next week's show. Man. Next week's show is looking good, man. It is looking good. And we'll be back to normal, too. We'll be back to normal on Wednesday night. So thank God, man. That is over. It's over. No more preemptions, man. And great main event, man. Great main event with Page and Omega. Jungle Boy and Omega, man. And yeah, man. And that was it, man. That was the review for AEW Dynamite, man. Saturday Night Dynamite for June 26, 2021 on The Ryan Awesome Show. And if you haven't done this already, man, hit the thumbs up if you like the video. Hit the thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. And right next to that subscribe button, there's a bell. Make sure you click on that bell to be the first ones to know when my next video is uploaded, because I'm here each and every single week, man. Follow me on Twitter at Ryan Awesome Show. And yeah, man. And I'll see you guys either on Sunday or Monday. It might be on Monday. I might see you guys on Monday for my Pro Wrestling Crate. I still got to do the unboxing on the Pro Wrestling Crate. I still have it with me right now, but I'm going to save it for Monday. And yeah, man. And yeah, man, comment down below, man. Share this video. Comment down below. Tell me how you felt about this episode of Dynamite. And yeah, man, if you missed my last week's review of AEW Dynamite, the video is going to be right up here in this corner. So make sure you click this video right here or click the link down below that's in the description. And yeah, man. And once again, guys, thank you for the support, man. Thank you for the love and support for the show. Thank you, thank you, and thank you, man. And then once again, guys, I'll see you guys on Monday. And yeah, man, and this has been the Ryan Awesome Show. Take care, stay safe, and don't forget to be awesome. And that's that.